everybody. Thanks for coming out on this cold day. We're so excited to have you here. My name's Rose Wilde, and I hosted a group of local activists called Gear Up, and it is with Showing Up for Racial Justice. We're all part of the Springfield Eugene chapter of Showing Up for Racial Justice. So welcome and thank you for coming. Let's give a cheer. Woo! If you helped organize this rally or are a member of SURJ or have ever come and done anything with SURJ, raise your hands, wave it high.
Wave it high.
Woo! Thanks for being here, folks. Okay, so I'm showing up today to make sure that all of our kids and all of us, transgender, immigrant, and everyone, grow up in a community and a nation that fully welcomes, includes, and values all of us. And this vision is threatened today, and it's been threatened. But I know that our vision is more powerful than the hate that is coming to us pouring out of Washington, D.C. I know, woo! Yeah. I know, united together, we hold real power. Throughout history, when institutions, people, leaders, individuals band together and actively resist and defend each other and our rights, we have wielded the power to undermine authoritarian agendas and grow movements. So, the political circumstances that we face right now are dire. People are risking their lives to be here today and to be out showing themselves to the world and who they are. So, we have to address what Trump's unleashed his racist and violent agenda. We have to address it. It's driven by the billionaire class and it's targeted immigrants, trans people, poor people, worldwide, federal workers, and many, many more. All across the country, regular people are signing up. They're pledging to fight back, and that's what we're doing today. So, community leaders, elected officials, faith communities, local groups, we're signing to pledge to protect and resist, to signal our commitment to show up for and with targeted people and for ourselves and refuse the MAGA authoritarian agenda. Woo! So, we'll have tools to help you sign the pledge a little later, so we're mentioning it now and we'll do it all together at the end of this program, which will be brief. So, many of the people that we need to win this fight are not here yet. So we are also going to invite people into the movement today, if you can. So be thinking of who it is that you think should be here, would want to be here, needs to be here. And we need to reach through and reach all those folks. So we're going to hear some stories from people involved with SURJ and Gear Up and in the community. We're going to hear from Commissioner Lori Trieger, who's going to lead us in signing the pledge. I want you to notice people with, if anybody has a red dot, I haven't seen a lot, but if anybody is wearing a red dot, that means they don't want their photograph taken or shared. So please be respectful of that. We do have photographers that are keeping a record of events. If you'd like a red dot, you can come up to this table and ask for one. We have them up here with name tags as well. And if you see someone with a yellow dot, these are volunteers, people that are helping with the event. So ask them for help if you need it. Okay, so after the event, we have some handouts that can go with you home that have concrete, tangible actions you can take at the state and local level to support immigrant and trans communities right now here in Oregon and in Eugene and Lane County. So be sure to take one on your way out. Alrighty, so now I get to introduce our speakers. So the other thing that's happening is there's a super cool rally that was scheduled exactly the same day and time as ours. Oh no! But we talked last night and we're going to go through our rally and then we're going to encourage folks to safely cross the street and follow traffic laws to go to Skeezy Square and support and encourage a young woman who's deeply concerned about immigrants and immigration in our country and what we can do to support her family and all the families in Lane County. So please go over and support a young activist who's organizing her first big event. So woo! Okay, so we're going to end with a chant and a photograph. So if you don't want to be photographed, don't get in it. All right, so now that you know what to expect, I am delighted to introduce our first speaker, a SURJ Gear Up member and old slug queen, Debbie Williamson-Smith.
Thank you so much, Rose. Awesome. Okay, it's my first rally that I'm speaking at, so I'm a little nervous and a little excited. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name's Debbie. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm here today as a private citizen. I want to acknowledge that we gather on Kalapuya Ilihi, the indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya people, and it is an honor to be in community with you. I'm going to say all the dirty words. Are you ready? Diversity, equity, inclusion, all the things that make us radical. These words are being weaponized against us, yet here you all are, standing up for what you know is right. Why are you considered radical? Because you wanted to stop a genocide in Palestine? Because you're tired of seeing black people murdered by police? Because you know guns shouldn't be the leading cause of death for children in our country? Because you believe trans rights are human rights? Are you radical because you support religious freedom? Are you radical because no one is illegal on stolen land? Or are you radical simply because you have the audacity to believe that people should have food, housing, and health care? All those things, right? So what made you succumb to this woke ideology? Was it the joy of seeing your friends finally say I do when gay marriage was legalized? Was it attending your first Juneteenth celebration? Perhaps it was realizing the history we were taught in school wasn't all the history. Maybe it was reading The Diary of Anne Frank. Or possibly, just maybe, was it Valentine's Day in kindergarten when you had to make a card for everyone, so everyone was included? The foundation is there, people, we just forgot. Apparently, these are the experiences that make us radicals, but I say they make us human. There is important work for us humans to do, especially if you identify as European American. If you're white, like me, we are now living under open white supremacy. And like it or not, white supremacy is a white people problem.
Yes.
Last month, we honored Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., where we often quote his most famous speech, "I have a dream." I want to encourage you to read or reread Letter from Birmingham Jail, where he expressed disappointment in the white moderate. He defined a white moderate as someone who is more devoted to order than they are to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. As a white woman, I am guilty of resting in negative peace. I have been that moderate white person. Have you? Thank you. That is the work ahead, the work of deconstructing our whiteness, holding a mirror to ourselves and reflecting on what behaviors we do, why we remain silent, what words or phrases we use, what reactions we have, what biases we bring to the table. We must hold the mirror up and ask ourselves, how are we similar to those white people? Chances are we have more in common than we want to believe. But we can change this. If we take the time to deconstruct being white in America, we can use being the problem to become the solution. And if you bring a friend, two things will happen. First, you'll have someone to process with, check in with, ask questions of. I would not be here without an intimate circle of people who speak the truth. Second, you will grow this beloved community of radicals who believe in the dirty words, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and are doing the work with a good heart. You'll see QR codes around to sign SURJ's pledge to show up to protect the rights, safety, and dignity of all people in our community. Please sign it. Please do the self-work necessary for change to happen. Together, we can take a stand against white supremacy and demand that our legislators do the same. Racial justice does not exist in this country. It never has, and it's up to us to fix it.
Good first speech.
Thank you.
Right on, Debbie.
We think you'll be able to hear better with this elevated. So Commissioner Trieger does everything, including the heavy lifting. So thank you. Thank you, Debbie. That was amazing. And now next we welcome up Jacob Griffin, a volunteer in organizing the trans community. And I just got to say, through Jacob, dozens and dozens of people have started to show up, trans and allies of all stripes, to speak up for human rights. So thank you so much to Jacob for your leadership, and Jacob's going to join us for a few words. There you are.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you all, and I'm really sorry you're standing in the rain. I just looked at my weather report and it says it'll start raining around 2. I got radicalized at the age of 4 standing beside my father's chair as he yelled at the television, "You bastard," to Richard Nixon. So I've been doing this for a while. I need to tell you what's happening to trans people in this country right now. The mic went off.
Just keep it real close to your mouth, Jacob.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I need to tell you what's happening to trans people. Approximately 2 hours after Donald Trump was inaugurated, he made a policy, an executive order that basically legalizes the raping of trans women in prison. It dehumanizes them by removing their female clothing, their hair, measuring their breasts to see whether or not they are adequate to be allowed bras, in every way they can, humiliating and dehumanizing, and then attempting to return them to men's prisons, and they have deliberately dropped the Rape Reduction Act. In other words, we have now an official policy in the United States that trans women in prison will be available to be raped, and I need you to hear and absorb that. A few days later, the president took away the rights of trans children to get the health care they need. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about puberty blockers because I need you to be our voice. We make up 0.5% of the population, and we are about 50% of the terror that's going on right now. Puberty blockers give children who feel uncertain about their gender or extremely certain about their gender time. All it does is give them time so that their bodies do not betray them by becoming something that we cannot undo. All it does is allow them the time to wait until they can make a decision for themselves about their future. It's done in conjunction with caring parents, doctors, therapists, and the child themselves. There is nothing mutilating, terrifying happen. It is the best of health care. Trans kids now believe their country hates them. You need to know that. I think immigrant kids probably do too, but I know trans kids do. They do not understand that if they had diabetes, if they had cancer, this country would be focused on their care and health because we love children. But we don't love these children. We don't love immigrant children anymore. We're not caring for them in the way they need. We are going to see enormous amounts of child suicides over the next few years. Wasn't enough that we let our children be killed in schools. Now we're going to encourage them to kill themselves because we think they are inappropriate. I don't have friends out here today because they're afraid. They're scared, and they have a right to be scared. I have trans women friends who tower over me, who I walk to their car at night because they're afraid. And I don't know what I'm going to offer them, but it's better than whatever else they've got. And so what I'm here to do today is to tell you, you have to step forward. I know there are people here who struggle with the idea of women and trans women. You have to stop now. It's time to just step up and take care. If you haven't noticed, one last thing I'll tell you, that the thing that bothers me, I think the single most, is on the State Department webpage, there's a page that tells queer people where it's safe and not safe to go. Last week, 2 weeks ago, it would say LGBT plus. Today it says LGB. They've removed us, and at every place they can, they're removing us. Without trying to sound hysterical, I'm going to tell you this is a mirror to the Nuremberg laws of 1936. They are disappearing us from public life. And we need you to make sure we do not disappear. All right, thank you.
And if you're having trouble hearing, please come forward. Please get closer. I don't think we can make it any louder, but we're trying our best. Jacob, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here and putting yourself out there again and again. One of the actions we're promoting is to show up on Tuesdays mornings at 9 o'clock, most Tuesdays at Harris Hall, if you're able to, in person or on Zoom, and give public testimony asking the county to take action in support of gender-affirming healthcare in particular, and expanding and enforcing Oregon's Sanctuary Promise Law. And there's much more to learn, and I have learned through listening to those testimonies. So, yes, sir. Is waving. Okay. All right. So next, we have Sherry Jones, who is also a volunteer with Showing Up for Racial Justice, and for several years, part of our Gear Up cohort. And she recently retired for a role in which she, among other things, created an annual summer camp arts program for trans and non-binary youth. So somebody really countering that message of hate with love and inclusion. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Rose. Right, there was a reason I wanted to elevate those kids. So my name's Sherry, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm going to continue to use my pronouns forever. I've been a citizen of the Pacific Northwest for 32 years and of the Willamette Valley for 14 of those years. I'm a current resident here in Eugene and Lane County. I want to ask, is this a country for some of us, just for some of us, or is it a county for the sum of all of us? Back when the media started covering more information about violence against Black and brown lives, and I began to see live stream and homemade on-scene video from personal phones of witness, I was really slapped in the face with the visual reality of violence against people of color. I was aware from a young age of the fight for civil rights. I'm the child of a liberal white woman who started a Democratic women's student group for Jewish women at her college back in the 1940s. She brought us up and would sit us down in front of our TV to watch televised protests during the 1960s. But we didn't go to these protests. We just watched them on TV. Children's questions frequently go unanswered, the whys not always truly addressed, other than calling out the hate. That was how it was for me, and it still is for many white people, our privilege allowing us to look but not actually to see and not actually to know. That's why I'm here, to make the choice to do the work that will take my lifetime, but to show up and to speak up. There is so much injustice in the world, and the world is now looking back at us at the United States. People are seeing the truth and reality of what is of most interest to this country. It's money for war and money in exchange of people. I want to say that it's very, very important today for us to notice who we cannot see right now. This is important. We need to think about and remember the people we don't see here today, the people that are in fear of their lives and whose liberties are being taken away. These people are staying inside today because of fear, not because of the cold. We're all being played as pawns in this global power struggle. Let's remember and acknowledge our family, friends, and neighbors that are not outside with us to hear today, our transgender and immigrant and refugee communities. As thoughtful and compassionate human beings, we must stand up to the current authoritarian and fascist regime and resist Trump's executive orders to physically remove our immigrant and refugee communities, and especially we must resist these attempts to remove the very existence of our transgender and non-binary family members, friends, and neighbors. As parents, grandparents, guardians, citizens, and humanitarians, We cannot sit by and wait to see what happens next. The waiting is over. We must protect and support our sanctuary state. We must protect and fight for a sanctuary city and our county that protects our trans and immigrant communities. Is this truly a country for just some of us or for the some of us? It must be. It's for all of us. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you, Sherry. All three of our speakers are people who share a stake in our mutual well-being. We're not islands unto ourselves and don't only care about our own problems. We know that even when our personal rights are not directly under threat, history's taught us that once a tyrant starts taking away human rights, it's just a matter of time before we're all in danger, and we're all in danger already. So we know our liberation is bound up in one another's, and that no human is illegal. So I want to mention again that we have some information on the back here, right by Commissioner Trieger, actually, with some pieces of paper, just one sheet, front and back, that has resources that may be useful to immigrants or transgender, and some that are also LGBTQ broadly, and as well as 2 actions that you can take. Either Food for All Oregonians, supporting that at the state level, or taking action at the county level. And there's several other ways that you can help, as well as supporting in these nonprofit organizations, volunteering, giving time, money, whatever you can do. So that's some concrete stuff you can do right now. So now I, without further ado, would like for you to turn and talk to somebody near you and say, what's a reason you're here? What's your name, your pronouns if you wish, and why are you here? And who are you going to invite to the next one? In 3, 2, 1. Woo! All right. Let us give it up for Lane County Commissioner Lori Trieger, who is going to share a few remarks and lead us in the pledge. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you to all the organizers of this fantastic event, to all of you for coming out. Debbie, you did an amazing job for your first rally speech. Good job. This is not my first rally speech, so I know how to be loud, and I'm here to get you fired up if you're not already. Are you fired up? All right. I want to especially thank Jacob for coming out today and for coming to our Tuesday board meetings. It has been very impactful and very important, and we deeply appreciate and respect you coming out to our meetings, Jacob, and bringing your friends. Thank you for that. I am Lori Trieger, and whether you live in my district or not, I am your county commissioner. I am sad and I am angry and frustrated to be here today, but I am also lifted up and filled with joy and resolve because we are all here together. And I am not surprised that we are here. The struggle for human rights and dignity is as old as time. In this country, every system in which we operate is built on a premise of the superiority of a few over the many. Oppression is the very foundation of America, but so is freedom. And today we are here to assert our freedoms. Freedoms to be our authentic selves, freedoms to love who we love, to travel and live where we choose, to practice our rites, rituals, and religions of all kind or of none at all, to care for our bodies and for each other with agency and with access to the services that we need and we deserve. I joined the resistance, though I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time, over 40 years ago at the age of 18 when I lived in Philadelphia and I volunteered to help women cross hostile picket lines to access abortion care. I have been showing up, speaking out, pushing for change, and living my values ever since. And I know many of you here have as well. And welcome to those of you who are new to the resistance. We need you more than ever. I've been working on issues from worker rights, anti-racist policy, economic fairness, reproductive health care, including trans-inclusive care, and many other issues. And they are all still in play today. As long as there is work to do, I don't see myself stopping anytime soon because I have a moral obligation to do this work. And I have a lineage that informs this work. My mother was born in 1928 in Germany. She became a citizen of the United States in 1946, arriving as a refugee from the war, fleeing Nazi Germany. My father fought in World War II. He fought fascism in Italy, France, and Morocco. And I found his dog tags, and I'm wearing them. Friends, we are none of us alone. We have our ancestors, we have each other, and we also need to do this for those who will come next, so that they can look back at this time and see all of us who stood together against oppression and held fast to a vision of true justice for all. And finally, I want to say as an elected official that it is deeply concerning to me to see other public officials at the state, local, and federal level use their position and platform to denigrate, to exploit those most at risk of harm, to feed their own sense of power and worth. Shame. There is a difference between bravery and bravado. The former is righteous. The latter is a false front that bullies use to intimidate and to silence. But we are here. Are we here? And we are loud. Are we loud? And we are righteous. We will and we do stand brave in the face of their bravado, and we stand together.
Okay, awesome. So Lori is going to sign the pledge that we have gotten from SURJ National and have had thousands of people sign all over the country. So, sorry, Commissioner Traeger, so informal. Would you like to read it out loud?
I'd be happy to. I've got it.
I will read it out loud. Where is it?
It is right there.
Oh, there we go. Okay. This is the pledge that SURJ, Showing Up for Racial Justice National, has put out for folks to sign. I pledge to show up to protect the rights, safety, and dignity of people in my community and resist Trump's anti-democratic and immoral agenda consistent with the principles of nonviolence. Then it says, I'm signing onto this pledge because ... See my previous comments. And I think I'm going to turn it back over to Rose, who wants to engage all of you in perhaps committing to this same pledge.
Yeah, so signing the pledge gets you invited to do future organizing with us, so but they're not shared publicly. So I've signed the pledge. Many of us have already signed the pledge. There's going to be people going around with little QR codes, and if you're new to this, you just open up your camera on your smartphone if you have one, and if you don't, we have paper. And then you scan that, you hold your camera up to it, and a little thing pops up in front of you, and it's a website, and you touch that little thing, and it opens up, and you write your name, and that's it. That's how it works. QR codes, woo, they're amazing. Okay, I'm gonna read it aloud, and you can say it with me if you'd like, or just think about it. I pledge to show up to protect the rights and dignity of people in my community and resist Trump's anti-democratic and immoral agenda consistent with the principles of nonviolence. I pledge. So you could just say, I pledge to protect and resist. Awesome. All right, so next thing we're going to do, how many of you are pledging? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yay! Thank you for pledging. How you pledge is up to you. You can use the QR code or sign up here, either way. And I am feeling so thrilled that you're all here. Who's feeling good? Who's feeling kind of heavy? Yeah, boo. I know. Good and heavy. Yes. Yes. Our solidarity is our strength, and it is desperately needed. So, who has a friend or family member or neighbor who shares these values with you but isn't here today? And who's going to invite them? Next time, they can sign the pledge. It's just protectandresist.com, protectandresist.com. It's on the little QR codes as well. So they can sign that way if they'd like, and they'll get invited to join SURJ if they'd like. All right, so finally, the grand finale. We want to invite you to join Showing Up for Racial Justice. Sign up here, take some flyers, take some action. And finally, we hurried up to get through this. even though we were so excited and planned for so long, because we would love for you to take a stroll over to Casey Square and join the Rally for Immigrant Justice and Rights. So please go and join them. Let's do our chant and our photograph, and then we'll go. Okay, so here's the chant. It goes, protect, resist. We won't be dismissed. 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 Okay, great. Hey, you know, that was awesome. Thank you. So last thing we're going to do is please gather over there. You can go in the back if you'd like. Go up on the stairs if you'd like, or just in front of the courthouse sign. We're going to do one big picture. Take your signs. Hold them high. Where's our photographer? Raise your hand. Where's our photographer? We have one photographer. So photographers are going to be over here. So everybody go over there. Let's get in. Bring it in. Bring it in. And you can keep your signs if you like your signs. All right, everybody gather around. Let's go. We're going to share this with other chapters of SURJ. That's who's seeing these pictures, and it's showing our strength. And Trump will know that all of us are standing up against his hateful agenda, and he's not going to get away with it.
But there's also a few things on the table.
Is this yours?
Yeah. I should stop leaving at places.
Okay.